Where is the Ark of the Covenant? Was it hidden deep beneath the Temple Mount, spirited away to Ethiopia, or lost forever in the deserts of Sinai? For centuries, the Ark has been the greatest treasure hunt in human history, a quest for a sacred chest said to hold the power of God himself. Legends speak of golden cherubim, thunderous miracles, and armies brought to their knees. Some claim the Ark granted invincibility, others whisper that it was too dangerous even for the righteous to touch. Explorers, kings, and dreamers have scoured the earth, chasing rumors of its last resting place. But what if the real mystery of the Ark was never just about where it was hidden, but what it has always been trying to reveal? What if its treasures, the manna, the rod, the tablets, were not only sacred artifacts, but keys to a deeper story written into the very foundation of our existence? Today we will follow the ancient trail through scripture, through symbol, and through the mystery itself. The Ark is real, and its greatest secrets are closer than you think. Take a jar and put an omer of manna in it. Then place it before the Lord to be kept for the generations to come. Exodus 16, verse 33. At the heart of the Ark, before a word of law was etched in stone, before any rod had blossomed with divine authority, rested a humble vessel filled with manna. It reminds us of a profound truth. Divine wisdom begins not in command nor even in authority, but in the simple, unconditional provision of life itself. The manna symbolized God's perpetual care, an ever-present reminder that without sustenance neither law nor authority can hold meaning. This first revelation calls us to humility. We learn that true spiritual insight is first and foremost existential. We must be sustained, held in being, before we can receive deeper truths. We live not because we earned it, nor because we understood it, but because God chose to sustain us first. Understanding the Ark thus begins with awe-filled gratitude for divine provision, life freely given, forever remembered. Place the staff of Aaron before the Ark of the Covenant to be kept as a sign. Numbers 17, verse 10. The Ark did not simply house sacred items, it brought them together in perfect harmony. Consider how the manna of divine sustenance, Aaron's blossomed rod of divinely granted authority, and the tablets of law mutually reinforce each other within that sacred vessel. The rod represents God's active authority, confirming that true spiritual power never stands alone. It needs the presence of divine provision, manna, and the guidance of structured truth, tablets, to fulfill its purpose. Thus revealed, the Ark teaches us about the necessity of harmony and balance in our spiritual life. Authority without nourishment becomes harsh. Provision without guidance grows chaotic. Law without sustenance becomes lifeless. God calls his people to house these truths together in their hearts and communities, never isolating one from another. For I have chosen him so that he will direct his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord. Genesis 18, verse 19. Even before the giving of the law at Sinai, the covenant was already at work, hidden yet powerfully active. God's promises to Abraham and his descendants were not vague assurances, but foundational commitments providing life, authority, and order even in anticipation. God gave Abraham the promise of sustenance, descendants, and a land. He granted Abraham authority, appearing and speaking directly to him, and he anticipated the future structure, statutes and commands to govern his people. Here is the revelation of continuity. God's covenant has always operated in this threefold dimension, waiting only for formal realization at Sinai. The Ark reveals to us that divine logic is eternal, slowly unveiling itself through human history. We are called not only to recognize God's structured revelations, but also to see how our own lives today are still expressions of that timeless promise. When Moses approached the camp and saw the calf and the dancing, his anger burned, and he threw the tablets out of his hands, breaking them to pieces. Exodus 32, verse 19. When Moses shattered the stone tablets, he revealed a profound truth. Rejection of God's structure leads inevitably to collapse in provision and authority. The broken tablets symbolize how quickly life itself, the daily manna and legitimate spiritual authority, the rod, can disintegrate when we neglect divine order. Rebellion is never isolated. It cascades tragically through every aspect of spiritual life. Thus, the Ark's revelation at this stage is cautionary. The gifts God grants us are powerful but fragile. Misuse of authority, rejection of structured guidance, or a spirit of ingratitude toward provision brings chaos and suffering. God calls us to vigilance, reminding us through the memory of broken tablets that obedience and trust maintain the very fabric of our existence. Hilkiah the high priest said to Shaphan the secretary, "I have found the book of the law in the temple of the Lord." 2 Kings 22 verse 8. There came a time when the law was lost, forgotten by those it was meant to guide, yet its rediscovery restored everything: authority, provision, and the rightful ordering of society. The Ark, though hidden from direct sight at this moment, revealed a deeper truth. Even after catastrophic spiritual failure, renewal and restoration remain possible. God's covenant endures even human forgetfulness. Here the Ark teaches us of God's infinite patience and enduring faithfulness. Like Hilkiah uncovering the law, we too can rediscover spiritual truths lost or forgotten in our own lives. Authority can be reaffirmed, sustenance renewed, and life reordered, if we dare to look carefully for what has been lost, restoring our relationship with God and one another. This is the covenant I will make. I will put my law in their minds and write it on their hearts. Jeremiah 31 verse 33. Jeremiah's prophetic insight transforms the Ark's message. No longer does the Ark simply contain external objects, manna, rod, tablets, as physical tokens. Now these sacred realities become internalized, embedded deeply within each believer's heart and mind. Life sustenance is recognized inwardly, authority is internalized as spiritual virtue, and law becomes inseparable from one's very identity. The revelation here is transformative. We learn that spiritual maturity requires internalizing God's gifts. Authority becomes integrity, law becomes inner wisdom, and manna becomes grateful dependence. No external reminders are necessary once these truths are part of who we are. God calls us to this profound inner integration, to live out covenantal truth not merely by obedience to external rules, but by natural expression of a changed heart. Take this book of the law and place it beside the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God. There it will remain as a witness against you. Deuteronomy 31 verse 26. Finally, the completed Torah is placed alongside the ark as a witness, creating a self-referential structure. Now, the covenant is fully revealed, containing within itself the means for perpetual spiritual renewal. Just as Moses transferred authority to Joshua, passing the covenant forward, the divine system of life, authority, and law is designed to sustain itself perpetually through each generation. This final revelation of the Ark is empowerment. The knowledge of God, His provision, and His governance are fully given. Our task is now to uphold and share them faithfully. The Ark no longer requires mysterious concealment. Its sacred principles are plainly available for us to embrace, internalize, and pass on. The divine logic, once hidden, now stands openly as a perpetual call to live fully within the covenant relationship God has lovingly established. The Ark was never meant to be a relic hidden in the shadows of history. It is a living covenant, calling across time to every soul willing to listen. The manna still falls where lives are sustained by unseen grace. The rod still blossoms wherever righteous authority is humbly wielded. The law is still written, not on stone but on living hearts that dare to be shaped by divine hands. The Ark's power is no longer locked behind temple veils or buried under lost sands. It lives wherever the sacred pattern is honored, wherever life is nurtured, authority is purified, and truth is courageously lived. You, the bearer of God's covenant within you, now carry the thunder that once shook mountains and toppled kingdoms. The world stands again at a crossroads between chaos and covenant. To walk with the Ark today is to step into the storm with calm authority, to offer manna to the starving, to hold up the rod of truth against the darkness, to bear the law not as a burden but as a beacon. The Ark is revealed, the power is yours. The call is clear, go forth, sustain, guide, transform, and let the world tremble once more at the presence of the living God within you.